Hey, welcome back. We're going to do, like we said from our last episode, we're going to do the what we're looking forward to in 2025. So this one's going to be short because I, I I didn't give it a lot of thoughts, but because things just come out so rapidly,
Yep.
especially with CES and things like that. I know I only said one thing, but I actually have two things I'm actually looking for.
Okay, I'll let you start then.
Okay. First things first. I want to see the evolution of these meta classes. This second iteration of a higher resolution and decent battery life. I love the charging case. The charging case has been like a highlight
that's
for me.
super awesome. You just put them in the case; they charge like AirPods.
Yeah. You literally, I mean, you should put your glasses back in the case anyways,
Yep.
right? To protect your lenses. And from that perspective, it's just the next iteration, hopefully some type of display OLED in there. It doesn't need to be like super graphical, just some type of text and display arrows. I'll be happy with that. That will be something I'm really looking forward to in 2025.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I don't know if we're gonna get something like that next year. Especially from Meta, since these do seem to be doing super well. Project Orion that was unveiled last year. We're still waiting for something like that. Once we get there, as we've been saying, I think it'll be game changing.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to. What about you? Where are you at?
For me, my one and only thing on the list is the Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh,
We've been waiting for this thing for so long, and it's finally coming sometime
They say-
early this year.
they say this month.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Supposedly, the leaked release date or announcement date has been pushed back multiple times, but supposedly January 8th is the next time.
Well, don't forget, they also said that there's going to be plenty of supplies. That's
Yes.
one of the things that Nintendo did promise. They said we're not going to go through this whole, gouging and reseller type of environment that we experienced for the past 2 years. One
Right.
of the reasons why they keep pushing it back because they're hoping for the inventory to really build up so that the availability is there. So it should be better.
Yeah. Again, though, this is just an announcement. The rumors do say we're going to have the announcement sometime early in the year and then release for the holidays at the end of the year. So, gonna have to wait a while for it, but it'll come.
I just, with Nintendo, I struggle because at my age, I'm going through literally 4 decades of Nintendo, playing Nintendo, and just every 10 years, it's just always the same games. Now, the graphical has enhanced, so your experience does enhance from that, but the storyline continues to be. The theme of it's still the same, but there's some additional aspects to the game. But then again, I don't play anything but Mario, right? You
Yeah.
play things like Zelda.
Yeah. So, yes, the storylines always stay the same. I mean, you mentioned Mario. Zelda's always been the same in that way. Pokemon has definitely always been the same in that way. Pokemon Legends ZA, please be different. But for Nintendo, it's more about the experience, right? Because while Mario stays the same, they do it in a different form factor, right? Sometimes it's 2D, sometimes it's 3D. For Zelda, it's the same way. Sometimes it's, your traditional 2D, I don't know what that top-down view is called.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's Breath of the Wild.
Right. No, I just for me, I just that experience, that game playing. It's no different than not to completely change the subject. It's no different than all the sports game I play. It's the same thing over and over, and I'm just like, all right. Like even this past Christmas, I had some time off from work. I invested fairly heavily into purchasing NBA 2K, and you know what? At the end, I barely spent any time with it because no matter how much you pay, you still have to grind. I just somewhat. I'm not a gamer. I come to the realization that at the stage of my life, gaming is pretty much sunset for me. I do it for pick up, arcade,
Yep.
quick, and call it a day. I don't need to live my full life fantasy through it. I don't have to spend hours like this guy does on that.
Yeah, and that's what's always been interesting to me, because you've been very arcade focused. While Nintendo, you very rarely have to ever grind to finish one of their games, but you do have to play through it,
Fair.
and that's still a time investment.
Yeah. I just don't have hours, and I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah.
Okay, then my last thing, what I'm looking forward to in 2025, is actually from the previous episode. It's my Apple Vision Pro. I want the ROI to be there, the return on investment. Justin and I invested heavily into this platform, and I just want to see some good usage and content out of it.
Yeah, 2025 will be interesting for it, especially since we're supposed to see an M5 version of it. So I don't know what's going to happen to it.
Listen, it's pretty simplistic, right? I think there's no doubts. The Apple Vision Pro is really more of an entertainment type of device.
Right.
From a productivity perspective, it's hard to wear something that has that type of weight for a long amount of time.
Yep.
Unless you're like in a design studio where you're virtually working on a 3D model or something in that fashion in the group setting, right?
Yeah.
Or virtual setting. So I think that there's some aspect to it that could be really useful, but it's ultimately more of an entertainment device. And for me, I just found that even VR, even Meta has its issues, but with the resolution that Apple Vision Pro can provide, the immersive experience in sporting events like Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, all those things that have such a great just opportunity to be able to really dive into that universe, to be there.
Yep. If we get an immersive like sports subscription like we've been asking for, I think that's really going to push units.
I think that could really change the fan base, right? If they can level set that and then spread it across all the platforms between, Meta and then the new Samsung/Google device and ultimately Apple, I think that will really enter a new sporting experience of watching something.
Yep.
I mean, it's no different than what we have here. Well, I'm sure everyone have seen it in Las Vegas, the globe.
Yeah, the Sphere.
The Sphere. We have something like that in Southern California, where it's not as grand, but it is also a Sphere, where they sell $200 tickets to go there to watch it like you're in a stadium, but you're not in the stadium. And that experience can really be, injected into the Apple Vision Pro. But unfortunately, because of the limited, individuals that actually invested in it and bought it, they can't invest that type of capital into that platform, right?
Yep.
So something's got to balance off. But the device overall, it's very capable. I want to touch upon, you made the statement about M5 one coming up. Let me be the first one to tell you, Apple processors, M1 to M5 or whatever it is, yes, incrementally they are better. No doubts about that.
Yep.
But what I'm going to continue to say to you is, even if you're on the M1, it is still very capable.
Yep, I'm still on my M1 Pro MacBook Pro, and I very rarely ever reach its limits.
And I'm on an M1, granted it's an Ultra Studio Mac. Even when the new Mac Mini came out with the M4, which everyone ranted and raved about, to be fair, the single core is always going to get a little bit faster because they do improve upon that. But what I would say is that it took a M4 to really match to a M1 Ultra.
Yep.
In performance. Now, again, aside from the single core, yes, the single core M4 will be faster, but that performance increase or delta is not as large as what everyone thinks that it is. It's not like 3 or 4 times faster. It is faster, but it's not number-wise, it's 3 to 4 times faster. But in reality, when you're actually using it, it doesn't translate into a 3 to 4 times faster experience. So something to keep in mind. So what I'm trying to say is that even though the Apple Vision Pro might come with the newest and greatest processor, the M2 still has the ability and the capability they haven't even really tapped into yet.
Exactly. But I'm still excited for that M5 version because it shows that Apple really is dedicated to this platform still.
That's fair.
And hopefully, that will incentivize developers more to try and invest a little bit more into this platform.
Yeah, I mean, Apple have this. I mean, one of the bad things about Apple is that they have a tendency to like all other companies per se, it's not invest in products that's not as robust or not as consumer friendly, right?
HomePod.
I mean, don't forget Mac Pro. I mean that thing. You could have spent $54,000 spec'd out on that thing. And next thing you know, a Mac Mini back then, would have blown it out of the water. Not blown out of the water, but that's exaggeration. But be very comparable, be competitive with it. But the Apple Vision Pro does need some love from Apple.
Absolutely.
And it could start. I don't even think it's the price tag thing. Even if they lower by $500, that darn thing's still not going to move.
No, I don't think unless they went sub 2, it would move.
Sub 2 is still like a hard swallow for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, of course, but in its current state,
yeah,
they're not changing the price on it anyways. But
I think the only way you can make that thing fly out the door is maybe at $12.99. And then it still won't fly out the door.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah, I agree. Anyways, but that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I'm continue to be hopeful and be an advocate and supporter of Apple with the Apple Vision Pro. But that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. Speaking of that Mac Pro, maybe this is the year we get an updated one.
It will be interesting. But you know what? If anything at all, I think they did say the Mac Studio M4 Pro would be coming out.
Yeah, that's most likely.
Listen, even if it comes out tomorrow, I would say to you, my M2, my M1 Ultra, it's still doing fine.
Yep.
It does a job. It does all the videos appropriately. It just does fine. So, we wish everyone have a really good New Year's and a prosperous 2025. The world, it's an interesting place right now with everything that's going on. Just stay safe and stay healthy and keep watching. Anything from you?
I got nothing.
All right, man. Till then, peace out. Take care.